Many people have big life questions. Are billionaires evil?
Will we live on Mars?
Sorry, does this train go to Bristol?
But the only way to find the answers is by speaking to the experts or reading the information. No one has time for that. My name is Rhys James, and I'm not an expert, but my diary is empty. I'll ask the questions you don't think to. I'll get the answers you didn't know you wanted.
Why would anyone want to buy that?
I'll do the research. As in Rhysearch. My name is Rhys. It works written down. You're through to Rhysearch. Please leave your name and question, and I'll have an answer for you within 1 calendar week. Beep.
Yeah, I was just wondering, with all these technologies and, data and cookies and Alexas, is privacy gone? Am I being watched?
Technology. Use of tech has been increasing year on year for years. In fact, tech use has been rising by a percentage of load since 2010, days ago. But technology isn't just about robots and a series of interconnected luminous blue dots on a darker blue background. It actually refers to basically everything. How we communicate, travel, and heat up popcorn is all thanks to technology. In fact, ever since the Industrial Revolution, and ages before it, tech has been the foundation of pretty much every important invention in the history of mankind. Light bulbs, the steam train, Crocs, stirrups, shelves, BMW wheels, javelins, and Pixar all owe their existence to the religion we call tech. In fact, this radio show right now wouldn't be possible without tech, due to some photos of an important BBC employee I found on the cloud. But as modern tech increasingly dominates our daily lives, have we lost our privacy? Or worse, our privacy? Highly addictive social media platforms know us better than our closest friends, who rely on these platforms to remember our birthdays. We unknowingly allow our phones to study our faces as we make ourselves look like a cute dog on apps like Snapchat, or make ourselves look very old on apps like LinkedIn. Frequently, we're told our passwords are insecure, which is no surprise when they're so short. And it's not just apps. Do our phones and home hubs snoop on us at all times? Can they hear what we say? And if so, can I include them in the listening figures for this program? Does Google know me better than I know myself? And if so, can it tell me what I want for Christmas so I can tell my mum? Should I pronounce it data or go for data to sound cool? To find all this out, I spoke to Amit Katwala, senior editor of Wired, who writes all about the future of technology in Famous Relic of the 1900s, a magazine. Now, Amit, what do people mean when they say the word privacy in regards to tech?
I think they're generally talking about the use of their data.
Data?
Data.
Data. What is my data?
It could be as simple as your name and your email address.
Well, Rhys James and Sweet Baby Jamesy at tiscali.com, but go on.
Or it could be as complicated as the platform's best guess about your sexual preferences to what kind of pizzas you like.
Well, 12-inch pepperoni and, no, that covers both. But listen, why should I care that companies have my data?
Well, because you've never told them.
So how do they know then? Are they listening to us?
There's no evidence that they're actively listening to us. That would be in breach of all their kind of privacy guidelines.
I mean, I just answered a lot of your questions out loud. Was that a mistake?
I think what's probably going on is a sort of confirmation bias. People have this phenomenon they report where they talk about something and then they seem to see it showing up on their Facebook banner ads and things like that. The things we talk about are the things we're interested in, so we might have searched for them, or they might just be things that people like us are interested in.
I trusted Amit with my life, but I couldn't be sure he wasn't lying to me until I did an experiment for myself to discover if these platforms were snooping on us, and if so, how intuitive they could be. For an entire double fortnight, I spoke exclusively in an American accent within earshot of my laptop, my phone, my desktop, my Game Boy, and my colleagues, to see if I would then be shown adverts for, well, hamburgers and pistols and Kelly Clarkson. But 28 days later, the only adverts I was receiving were for dialect coaches, so clearly, they weren't listening. These home hubs, are they listening to us? The Alexas, the Google Homes, the Siris of the world?
Yeah, that does give some ammo to the theory they are listening all the time.
Thought so?
Because they are listening all the time. In theory, they're just listening for the wake word, but we've all seen Siri or Alexa kind of accidentally activate when we haven't meant it to, when it hears something that sounds like its name and it records a little snippet, and that snippet gets uploaded to Amazon servers.
And it exists there for months.
Yeah, so if you log into your Amazon account and go through a bunch of menus, you'll be able to find recordings of all the things that you've ever said to your Alexa.
Even in the heat of the moment?
Yeah.
Good God.
Which is really terrifying. It's right. It's like when you discover that Google's got your search history going back for 15 years, unless you've turned off that setting.
Well, I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be sick.
Oh,
I'm sorry about that.
cool.
Listen, are there any weird household items spying on us? Maybe my toaster, my lamps, my runners-up medals, that teddy bear with one red eye. Are they watching me?
Doorbells are watching us.
Doorbells?
I don't think your toaster's watching you.
Clarification. Amit is referring to the Amazon Ring doorbell, which does have a camera in it. I own one of these doorbells, but I'm not worried about it spying on me, as I happen to be one of those people who puts their doorbell on the outside of their house.
But it still has a record of everyone who arrives at your house.
Yeah, but the only people who arrive at my house are Amazon. They know they're coming. I invited them. All I've really done is given Amazon drivers the opportunity to wave at each other through my doorbell like passing bus drivers. Isn't that nice, for crying out loud for once?
Yeah.
So where does morality come into this, Amit, if, say, someone was listening through my device and they heard me either, say, committing a crime or having a heart attack and they didn't act on it when they could? I mean, they don't want to let me know they're listening, but they also don't want to let me die or kill.
The rules shouldn't be different just because it happens online, right? Like, if you were walking down the street and you saw someone in distress, you'd help them.
But what if you were spying on that person from a bush?
Look, it might put you in a bit of a quandary afterwards, but surely if they're in immediate distress, you have to help them. I mean, the bottom line is don't spy on people, right? That's top line.
Well,
So-
is it top line or is it bottom line, Amit? For goodness sake. There's no time. I trusted Amit with my life, but I didn't trust Siri. To see if there was someone on the other end listening, I decided to test it with 2 fatal scenarios to see how it would react. Siri, help! Someone's trying to kill me! Someone is trying to murder me!
I won't respond to that. Try asking again in a different way.
Useless. Okay. Siri, help! Someone is trying to convince me to switch to Android.
Calling the police.
Unbelievable.
Hello, police. What's your emergency?
Why don't you ask Tim Cook? Amit, tell me, what about T's and C's? What are these, if you please? Well, they're terms and conditions. Now, we click accept on these without ever reading them, and then when companies like Facebook do their weird things, like maybe listen to us or sell our data, they go, well, you agreed to it. Now, they know full well that we didn't read it. I mean, you may as well say to a newborn baby, I will take all your money when you turn 40, and if you object, do the Macarena.
I think companies are making steps to make these things more readable. There are regulations in certain places that say you have to write them in plain English, but I think the onus is on us as individuals to make the effort to read the agreements that we sign.
Do you make an effort to read the agreements that you sign?
I do make an effort to read the agreements that we sign.
Now, Amit, you say that, but you had to sign a contract to do this show, did you not?
I did.
Did you read the contract?
I did.
So you're willing to do what you agreed to?
I am.
Well, let's hear it.
As stipulated in the contract that you sent me, I am willing to state on the record that I believe RoboCop 3 should have won the Academy Award for Best Picture.
Now, did you do any research into when RoboCop 3 was released?
It was released in 1993.
And what did win Best Picture in 93, Amit?
I didn't actually look that up. Was it Jurassic Park?
Schindler's List.
Oh, God.
Do you stand by it? Do you stand by that opinion now?
I've never seen Schindler's List.
Have you seen RoboCop 3?
I haven't seen RoboCop 3 either.
What the...
But
I mean, this is absolutely unseemly.
I think if I'd looked up the fact that Schindler's List was the actual winner, I probably would have maybe changed my decision. But, you know, we are where we are. I've made my bed.
Well, I think there's a message in that. In Schindler's List, I mean. I think there's a message in that film. Certainly worth a watch if you haven't seen it. If hearing Amit have an absolute privacy shocker with his T's and C's there has you concerned, don't worry. There are some alternative steps to ensure your security, and I am here to keep you safe online, like a sort of digital lollipop lady. These are my top privacy tips. 1. No time to read terms and conditions? Most contracts are void if you can prove you were not of sound mind when you signed them. So always film yourself drinking a bottle of vodka or watching the Joey box set before clicking accept. Number 2. One of the most important steps for privacy and security is a secure online login, which includes a password that no one could ever guess. So, to ensure your safety, make your password 8 asterisks as a double bluff. 3. Many secret questions involve a pet's name or mother's maiden name, but this information is easily found, as many people now set up Instagram accounts for their pets and mums. So your best bet is to use some information no one can find on social media, like your pet's mum's maiden name. 4. Worried about someone hacking your Alexa and hearing everything you've ever said to it? Start every sentence with, I had such a strange dream last night. That way, if someone is listening, they'll immediately switch off out of boredom. 5. If you're worried about being spied on through your laptop camera, simply cover it with a piece of tape. Only have sellotape? Fret not. The sepia sheen will make anything you do look like a 70s porn VHS, and no one watches those anymore. Number 6. Don't want a hacker to steal your secrets and blackmail you? Simple. Be poor. Amit, can I pick your brains for a sec?
I guess.
Cheers. Now, talk me through validation and how we access our own phones. I've heard the phrase 2-factor authentication. I've heard the phrase 3-factor authentication. Will I ever hear 4-factor authentication? What does this mean?
So basically, there are different ways of securing your data, and there's 3 different levels. It's something you know,
The 1993 Best Picture winner,
something you have,
an IMDb account,
something you are.
a Steven Spielberg fan. But how is this relevant?
So something you am is like a physical attribute, like your fingerprint or your retina scan or your tongue print or your DNA.
Or your grasp on English grammar? Something you am.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
Something you know, that's presumably your own password, your own mother's maiden name, that sort of thing. So what was the other one?
Something you have is a token. It could be your smartphone.
It could be your laptop, it could be a bank card, yada yada. Now, what about Face ID? It's quite easy to mug someone using Face ID, isn't it? Like, you just take their phone, you hold it up to their face, it's unlocked, and then it's yours to do what you please with.
Yeah.
So should there not be an extra element, such as, say, Face ID and your specific arm length? So you can only access Face ID if it's exactly the full length of your arm away from your face, because it's going to be much harder to guess that as a mugger.
Well, if they've got access to your face, they presumably also have access to your arm.
But it's harder to stretch someone's arm out. Just holding a phone up to their face, you'd have to shut your eyes, and then who knows what else they're going to steal from your pockets.
Just talk me through this scenario. So you've
I'm doing it. It's a warm June evening, and I've been at the pub with upwards of 3 friends and downwards of 5. They all share an Uber home, but as I've sworn off the apps, I opt to walk. I round a corner, and standing in front of me is a hooded figure who looks hell-bent on increasing his options for telecommunication. "Or you with the snappy dress sense and the thin nose, give me your phone!" Shocked, I stand stock still. He walks right up to me and pops my phone out of my shirt's breast pocket, which is where I keep it so the radiation isn't too close to my testes. He holds the phone up to my face to unlock it. "Hang on a minute, it won't bleed and unlock." "No, of course it won't, you big bully buffoon, because you'd need to hold the phone at the exact length of my arm as well." Frustrated, he smashes my phone on the floor and skips off, but he hasn't accessed my messages. So, do you see how the arm thing helps, Amit? It makes it more difficult, wouldn't you say?
It would be a lot more difficult.
Great. Thank you for coming on.
But it would also make it almost impossible for you to unlock your own phone. So again, it's probably about that trade-off between convenience and security.
No, crucially, Amit, you have your own arm. It would be easy for you to unlock it. You just hold your phone at arm's length away from your face. You don't have to guess the length of your arm.
Okay, but let's say you're on a crowded tube and you want to change the song that's playing.
Sure.
That's not necessarily feasible to stretch your arm out to its full length. And if you've got a whole tube carriage full of people stretching their arms out to their full lengths every time they need to unlock their phone, I just can't see it working.
Yes, fair enough. There is a film about people who stretch their arms out en masse and how that went wrong. Now, I do have other ideas. So we've had Face ID, we've had fingerprint technology, our favourite 4-digit number, even a word, a password, but all of these can be stolen or hacked with ease. So do we need it to be something that can't be recreated, like someone's vibe or someone's gait? You know, everyone walks in a very specific way, unique way to them. So if you had to walk past your phone in order to open it, and they could see, oh, that's him, that's how he walks.
Yeah, gait analysis is actually a really, really interesting idea. And I'm pretty sure it's been tried before for identification. Maybe not in password situations, but it definitely has potential. I worry that people's gaits aren't necessarily unique enough, or, you know, you can mimic someone's gait and you might be able to mimic it accurately enough to unlock a system like this. I wrote an article recently about a kind of concept for a tongue print. So it was like a mouth guard, but like a bit of plastic that you press onto your tongue, and it kind of takes your unique tongue print, and that would be the something that.
So you lick your phone open?
It's like a separate thing, and it's almost like a retainer that you used to get when your braces came off. So you put it in your mouth, and it takes like the unique ridges of your mouth plus the microbes in your breath, something like that, and it uses that as a unique identifier, which, you know, admittedly, it's very...
So every time you want to get into your phone, you've got to put a brace in.
You wouldn't use it for your phone. You might use it for things like, I don't know, online banking or something a bit more secure that you do less frequently.
These are so disconnected to me. So every time you want to access your money online, you've got to pop in a brace? I mean, this is almost perverse. What are you going to tell me next? Every time you want to renew your home insurance, you've got to pop on some orthopedic shoes? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it is and it isn't. But every time I need to log into my online banking, I need to remember the make and model of my first car.
Yeah, and if you ever locked yourself out of that car, what did you do? Call the AA or call your orthodontist? Listen, surely if we're going to involve the mouth in proceedings, the next logical step is a kiss. Are we going to be kissing our phones open? And therefore, in the mugging scenario, could there be a situation in which a mugger forces us to effectively kiss our phones goodbye?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a possibility. I suspect we'll probably go towards retina scans before we go to mouth scans, I guess.
But so, okay, how about this one? This is a good idea, I think. What about the way that people stack the dishwasher? Now, that's unique. I've never seen two people stack it exactly the same. It's going to be hard to replicate that. So what if you just have to show through your phone the way you've stacked the dishwasher, and then they let you into your phone?
I think that might fall down on portability. Again, in the scenario where you're
the crowded tube.
Yeah, well, you don't want people to have to be lugging their half-loaded dishwashers around with them. I can't see that working.
So I think what you're saying is that our best solution, stretch your arm out as far as you can. Thanks. Madame Tussauds, spitting image, Rory Bremner. Identity theft has been a problem for years. But has technology just changed the game with a new system of manipulation that can recreate a human likeness digitally? Or has it just done an impression of changing the game? That's right, deepfakes. Amit, what's this new phenomenon I keep hearing about called the deepfake?
So a deepfake is essentially, it takes information about someone's voice or appearance and it uses that to create a fake version of that person either saying something or doing something or, dancing or speaking, whatever it might be.
So this is dangerous, is it not? Is this a good thing or is this going to be used for evil?
It's not ideal. Probably will be used for evil at some point.
So you could use a deepfake to just make a celebrity do anything you like. Is that true?
Yeah, as long as you have enough data on them. So that's why it tends to need to be famous people, because they're the only people with enough video data available in the public domain for you to actually train the deepfake model on what they look like and how they speak and things like that.
So with the right software, I could create a deepfake of, say, Deborah Meaden or Andy Weir and have it say whatever I like in order to make a radio series.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Deborah Meaden would be good. You could definitely create her voice.
And I could pitch business ideas to her, have her say yes and no and stuff like that.
Whatever floats your boat, yeah.
Okay. Now, you said that you felt that deepfakes were not ideal. That's how you describe them, not ideal. You thought they could be used for evil. And yet, I know for a fact that you have said in the past that you wish there were more deepfakes. You wish deepfakes happened more. I heard you say that before.
I don't recall saying that.
Well, you don't need to recall it, because I've got proof.
Hello. I wish deepfakes happened more often.
There you go. Clear as day.
Hey, you did it.
Did what?
That does sound like me, so clearly I said it.
I wish deepfakes happen more often. That's your words, is it?
Yeah, I'm as shocked as you are.
Do you remember saying that?
No, I must...
Why do you wish deepfakes happen more often, if you think they're so evil?
So, clearly what's going on here is I've been set up.
In what world have you been set up?
It's an elaborate plot deploying the full weight of the BBC.
What are you implying here, Amit?
I'm just implying that when it comes to doctoring evidence, I think that the BBC, which I love dearly, is really, really important. Much more important than The Guardian, obviously. And that Rhys James is the funniest, most famous comedian in Rhysearch, which I love. It's one of the best shows ever made.
Now, there you go, Amit. Was that so difficult?
It's frankly disgusting.
Listen, Amit, that's your opinion on the record now, forever.
But I also said RoboCop was the best film of 1993, so what do my opinions really count for?
I cannot believe quite how hoodwinked I've been. You've absolutely bamboozled me with your logic. You know what? Alexa, help. These deep fakes intrigued me. I wondered if there would ever be a deep fake made of me, and if so, could I use it to speak to my mum on the phone or record adverts for Subway sandwiches? I contacted an AI software company who told me to record 20 sentences for them to analyze and build my deepfake, which I sent back to them immediately before they replied with the 20 specific sentences they actually needed, rather than the wedding vows I had imagined for Russell Brand and Katy Perry in 2010. They came back a week later with a perfectly uncanny Rhys James deepfake, which sounds like this.
Hi there, mate. Me name's Little Rhys James. I've got a radio show on BBC Radio 4 is the station that
Sorry,
it's on.
I had it on the wrong setting. It sounds like this.
Hello, I am the Rhys James deepfake. I sound like Rhys, and I can say anything.
You see, it sounds almost indistinguishable from the real thing.
I didn't lose my virginity until I was 26.
Sorry, that's a malfunction. I don't know why it's saying that.
My biggest heroes are all of Maroon 5.
How do I switch this deepfake off? This is not what it's been built for.
Once when making a gingerbread house on Christmas Day, I called my grandma a work-shy liability.
Right, forget it. Forget about him. That's in the bin. That's dead. That'll be killed. So, Amit, I put a bunch of these questions through an AI, a sort of app that would read my questions, and an algorithm would use those to come up with some new questions to ask you. So, the first question the AI asks is, what am I?
Hang on, so I'm answering the questions to the AI. So the AI it's not you asking me, what am I?
It's the AI asking, what am I? So if you could speak to me as if I was the AI and tell me what I am.
You are an artificially intelligent software system that extrapolates from a small amount of data and spits out plausible examples of that type of thing.
Well, who are you to say? You know nothing about me. Okay, next question. Will people use me for bad things?
I think, dear AI, that as a general rule, people will use anything at their disposal for bad things. So I would probably steel yourself for that possibility. It's coming down the line.
Why can't I be happy?
Happiness is a trait that generally gets applied to living creatures.
Oh, sorry, this is a different category. That wasn't AI, that one's me. Why can't I be happy, Amit? Is it tech's fault?
Possibly, yeah. I think tech has sort of distorted our relationship with happiness to a sense.
Amit, there's no time. These days, people are so obsessed with privacy and ownership, they will literally buy something that doesn't even exist. What I'm talking about is NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So don't even think for 1 second about funging one. I know what you're like. But what exactly are they? They sound complicated, contemporary, and difficult to get hold of. Someone else who ticks those boxes is crypto expert Samantha Yapp. Samantha, what is an NFT?
So an NFT is kind of like a record on a blockchain that's decentralized that is basically non-fungible, and it shows that it's an original record of something.
Absolutely. Now, just to clarify, what did any of that mean?
NFTs could be in the form of art, or it could be in the form of just a record of something, or, it could be a JPEG file. People can use NFTs for real world things like legal documents, even just statement of accounts, contracts.
Well, contracts and legal documents I understand, but why would anyone spend a fortune on an NFT of a JPEG file of some art when anyone could just copy that file for free?
It's the same thing as people taking a picture of the Mona Lisa and then printing it and putting it on the wall, right? But that doesn't mean that they own the original one.
Well, yes, but isn't the point of having art that you can hang it on your wall because it looks nice? I mean, digital art, what are you going to do? Just have it open all the time on your desktop so you can constantly look at it?
Right. No, that is a good point, right? So essentially NFTs are like bragging rights.
Essentially, NFTs are like bragging rights. They exist on the blockchain, a sort of online database which doesn't involve banks but does involve Banksy. And usually, a JPEG of a Banksy. So why is art so popular in the NFT world? Well, NFTs are mainly being purchased by young people, and young people are mostly renting, so aren't allowed to hang pictures on their walls. Plus, as they rarely look up from their screens, it would be pointless for millennials to hang real-life art anyway, as they never get to see it. What's the point in owning an NFT when you could own instead, say, an actual tangible thing that exists and you could eat?
That's a good question.
Will there ever be an edible NFT? And what would it taste like?
Look, I don't know. I mean, if there's an edible NFT, you need to think about whether you want to eat it. Because if you eat it, you can't sell it again.
That's true. But also, you do get those coffee beans made from animal feces. You get, like, otters will do a shit and then they'll use it to make coffee beans, and people pay an absolute fortune for that.
Yeah, it's called luwak coffee.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So could you not have an NFT that is edible, that gets shat out by the person who bought it and turned into another more expensive NFT? Is that not the future?
That's a good point. Look, see, I'm with you on this one. I really am just trying to get my head around this NFT.
Can I suggest some things to you now, and you could tell me if it's possible that they could be an NFT?
Yeah.
What about if I auto-tuned this interview and then just made that into a sort of song? Could I put that out as an NFT?
Yeah.
What about a picture of my own butt? Is that an NFT?
Yep. If you've got a large following, people might want it.
How about that moment in a haircut 5 minutes before the end when it's just perfect? Could that be an NFT?
Then you take a video of the moment. You take a video.
It'd have to be a video of the moment. Now, the problem with videoing it is that it's very difficult to know when you're 5 minutes before the end of something until you've reached the end of that thing. It would also arouse suspicion from your barber, who would wonder why you're filming it, likely assuming it's because you're happy with the haircut, and stop the cutting, meaning it's no longer 5 minutes before the end. Not to mention the fact it's difficult to access your own arms in a salon where they're trapped under that smock, and even if you did, you'd see yourself filming it in the reflection in that tiny mirror he's holding up behind you. This all seems too complicated to be worth it, does it not?
Yes, you've confused me already.
Fair enough. Now, what about the next 30 seconds of this radio show? Could I auction that off as an NFT, and then whoever buys it can do with it whatever they please?
Yeah.
Okay.
The question is, will someone buy it? Someone buy it.
Someone did buy it, and he was about to learn that he was now the proud owner of the first ever Radio 4 NFT. A piece of radio history.
Hello?
You recently purchased 30 seconds of audio for a radio broadcast. That 30 seconds starts now.
Oh,
10 seconds gone.
Rewind.
3, 2, 1.
I mean, 30 seconds is a long time, isn't it?
Goodbye. Okay, Amit. One final question. Has technology killed privacy?
No, I just think you have to make more of an effort to maintain your privacy.
Incredible. Even after tricking Amit with deepfakes, terms and conditions, and bogus mugging scenarios, he didn't feel that privacy was a lost cause. I guess, as long as we read what we sign up for, put earmuffs on our home hubs, put tape over our laptop and doorbell cameras, and never trust a voice, especially if it's your own voice definitely lying about your sexual history, we can maintain a certain sense of secrecy. Despite this, I couldn't shake the feeling I was being listened to, even though I was the host of a show broadcast on Radio 4. For me, unfortunately, it's too late for privacy, as my phone has heard everything I've ever said, remembered everything I've ever searched, and frankly, probably knows me better than anyone. Better than anyone. It's the little things I notice, your idiosyncrasies, all your quirks and all your ticks and all your insecurities. I know everything about you and there's nothing you could say if you're sat right there at your desk or you're 1,000 miles away. I'm your confidant, your therapist, your lover and your friend. I know how to read your subtleties and all the texts you send. I know exactly where you are at every second of the day. So does Domino's and Flappy Bird and Uber and eBay. I'm the closest to a soulmate that you're ever gonna do. Everyone else just cares about themselves, I'm only here for you. When you get bad news and you can't come to terms and conditions, you need a shoulder like I told you, I'm always here to listen. There's no secrets between us and yes, together we're perfect. I even finish the sentences you type in your search. Your privacy is fine with me till I say it isn't. I've said too much, quick, which of these pictures have traffic lights in them? Every time you try to clear your mind by going for a walk, every person you avoid and every ex that you stalk, everywhere you go to find yourself or just get away, I'll be right beside you hearing every word that you say. I know you searched the word Christmas on YouPorn. I know you Googled yourself on 9/11. I know you secretly don't believe vaccines. I know that Taylor Swift gave you depression. I know you better than you'll ever know yourself. I know you better than you'll ever know yourself. I know you better than you'll ever know yourself. I know you better know, you better know. I know you search the word you better than you'll ever know yourself. I know you better than you'll ever know yourself. I know you better than you'll ever know yourself. I know you better know, you better know.
Rhysearch was written and performed by
Rhys James.
Additional material from Adam Hess, with guests Amit Katwala and Samantha Yapp. Produced by Carl Cooper, a BBC Studios production.
There's no time.